Hello and welcome to Downtime Podcast. Happy New Year. What's up?
Happy New Year! Except it's January 27th, but happy 2022. We're going to pretend that we're recording this on January 1st.
But hey, it's a good point because we can talk about a lot of the news that has happened. You know, a lot has happened in January in the video game world.
Oh, God.
And
Yes.
we're here to talk about it. But before we get into that, let's talk about our holidays. Alyssa, what did you do? What was going on?
Okay, so Jeremy, if you recall, the last episode that we recorded together, I told you that I ordered a PS5 and I wasn't sure if it was a scam.
Okay.
It was not a scam.
There we go. Oh my God.
I am the owner of a PS5, but the funny thing is I haven't even played it yet, but simply because I am not going to play my PS5 until I finish the final PS4 games that I just have bought on this that I haven't played yet, meaning Guardians of the Galaxy, which Jeremy, I actually finished Guardians of the Galaxy 4 hours ago.
Yo.
Yeah, I know. And then Lost Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, I'm actually at the point of no return in Lost Judgment, but
Ooh.
I told myself I am not going to play the boss until Jeremy plays the boss. So
Okay.
I'm basically done with the game, but I'm waiting for you to finish it so that we can finish it together.
I will text you when I get to that point as well, so that you are aware that I am there as well.
Sounds good.
That?
Sounds
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then Horizon Zero Dawn. Jeremy, I just realized I've never finished Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, yeah, same, actually.
Yeah. And the reason is because I'm prepping for Horizon Forbidden West, and I was looking just at my trophies, and as I'm missing quite a few things, I realized I don't think I've ever finished this game. So after, now that I finished Guardians today, I'm going to play Horizon Zero Dawn before it comes out in February, end of February. And then after I finish Horizon Zero Dawn, I am officially going to play the PS5 and switch over and use everything on the PS5. I have Deathloop. Deathloop is waiting to be played. I'm just finishing out the final games that I have on the PS4 and then doing my official switch to PS5.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
But
So
it's real. It's real.
It's real. Is it still in the box?
It's still in the box. I actually took it out, and then in trying to configure my current TV stand, I realized, shit, what am I gonna do with this? So it's actually easier for me to finish out my games on the PS4, and then I'll open up the PS5 officially and place it after I finish everything, because I'm like, this is huge.
Yeah. It's a massive
It's real.
console.
It's real. It's big. Very big.
That is awesome. I'm really happy to hear that it was real, that you actually got it, and that it is something that you're actually looking forward to using and playing, because that is super exciting. Seriously.
I know. I'm super excited. And then just like any future game, I'm just going to get the PS5 version this year. So
nice.
Looking forward to it. And in other gaming news, as of tomorrow, I think tomorrow I should be able to pick up Pokemon Arceus, which I pre-ordered.
Ooh.
So that'll be exciting. I spent most of my holidays playing The Sims and Animal Crossing, which should surprise no one at this point. It was a good time. I have The Sims 4 Cats and Dogs now. By the way, is not the best expansion pack for sure. If you're looking for an expansion pack to spend money on, I would not suggest Cats and Dogs for anyone who's listening. And I guess the most exciting thing that I did over the holiday break is that I went to Alexander Steakhouse. If anyone has never been to Alexander Steakhouse, it's just like a steakhouse in the Bay Area. Fine dining for sure, but it's one of those places that you only go once a year or once every 2 years, and it was honestly the best steak. One of the best steaks I've ever had.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, I believe I got a ribeye or a T-bone. I don't remember which one I got, but it's delicious. Also, the gimmick of this place is that a lot of the marinades, a lot of the sauces are kind of like Asian Japanese influence. Like my steak had some sort of yuzu lemon sort of sauce and marinade, and it made the ribeye or T-bone very delicious. And also this place for dessert at the end of your meal, they give you cotton candy, and the cotton candy is just a random flavor of the day. At the time that we went, our cotton candy was pina colada, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just a good old fine dining time. I don't do fine dining like ever, so it's like when you do like these steakhouses once in a while, you're like, oh god, this is delicious. Also, I can't eat for the next 24 hours. But
you get your money's worth for sure.
Yes, you get your money's worth. But that is the most exciting thing I did over the holiday. And now I'm back at work, but we're having a good time because we're almost 30. So.
Yep. Gotta live out our last year of our 20s.
Gotta live out the last 3 weeks of our 20s.
Clinging on to the cusp of it.
How was your holidays, Jeremy? It was probably more eventful than mine.
It was pretty crazy. There's a lot that happened, but to condense it, first of all, I'm glad to hear that you had a great time and nothing crazy or bad happened, and that you ate some really good food. I also ate steak at a fancy restaurant. Ironically enough, I will tell you about that in a sec.
Okay.
So the first week and a half that I was in Hawaii to visit my folks, it was a little crazy because we were working, and so we had to get a hotel room like near our parents' place just so that my brother and I can take meetings in separate rooms, and that lasted for a week and a half. I was a little stressed out during that time because I was waking up extremely early. I was still on Pacific time, so for those that don't know, in where we are right now, Hawaii is around 2 hours behind California time, so it's not that significant of a difference.
2 hours?
You know, it messes with your mind and your body when you wake up and the sun's not up yet and you're taking meetings like super early in the morning.
Oh yeah.
But it was really cool and fun to like sit on a balcony and do work and like call into a meeting, and they're like, "Who are you right now?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm on a balcony." They're like, "Oh, you're so cool." And they're like, just they're just egging me, and I'm like, whatever. So it was fun. You know, we still hung out with our folks every night and ate some great food. My mom was a wonderful chef and she cooked some awesome dishes. And then
awesome.
My aunt came over for like the first weekend, and she treated us to like a steak dinner at this place called Wolfgang's, not to be confused with Wolfgang Puck's place. This is a completely different Wolfgang with a steak restaurant in downtown Waikiki on Kalakaua, and the food was fantastic. We ordered like 2 different steaks. There was the tomahawk, which was like the huge.
You got a tomahawk?
Yes, we got a tomahawk, a huge bone with like a giant slab of meat at towards one of the ends of the tomahawk bone. And then we had ribeye, which was enormous. We were all full by the end of it. We had a bunch of sides, mashed potatoes, veggies, and like onion rings and all this other stuff. It was fantastic. And spent a lot of time at the beach. Christmas was nice. We were supposed to spend it with some extended family, but one of my cousins over there caught COVID, and so he had to quarantine. Luckily, he was okay. He's fine now, and that was great. But, COVID overall was kind of rampant over there since people don't really wear masks outside, and like, there are a lot of people that still do, but I feel like the vast majority of tourists go there, take off their mask, they're like, oh, it's fine. And then they go indoors. They're like, okay, I'm wearing a mask indoors, so everything's cool. But outdoors, no mask. It's okay.
But, sure.
Regardless, large crowds wear a mask. Christmas Eve, we got to go to the International Marketplace, which is a little outdoor mall on the main strip Kalakaua in Waikiki. Watched an artist. Her name is Kimie Minor. She is a local artist, and she sang Christmas songs. She sang some original songs off of her albums, and she had a whole band. It was so cool seeing her live. I didn't know anything about her prior to watching the concert, but we were all able to enjoy the music. My mom was a fan, and so it was really cool to do that. And
That's
then
awesome.
Kimie started giving out like gift cards in the audience. Like, she had a giant sack and would started giving out gift cards. It was really cool. It's like,
also, for anyone, International Marketplace is awesome.
It's great. They have a Magnolia ice creamery, which Magnolia is a very popular ice cream brand that has a lot of Asian flavors like macapuno and ube, and chocolate macadamia nut and mango, and just all these different kinds of flavors that you don't typically see if you go to like a Dryer's or if you go to like Ben and Jerry's. And there's also like a Japanese marketplace called Mitsuwa where you can buy groceries. There's just a bunch of high-end shops. It was great. So Christmas Eve was fun. I got to meet up with one of my friends that I met on Twitch. He goes by Asian Tony Stark. His real name is Ryan. Yeah, he kind of looks like Robert Downey Jr. too if you squint hard enough. Yeah, he's great. He was so fun, and we like bounced ideas off of each other. We were just like hanging out as people, and that was really cool to connect with someone that I met online and got to see in person and just like, chat with. So that was dope. And then, oh man, New Year's was so cool. We went to my aunt's house that we were supposed to go to on Christmas, but luckily my cousin was feeling better. It was past that time period when he contracted it, and so we were all fine. And then, yeah, there were like at like 5 p.m. there were fireworks going off already, and they lasted until like the next day. Like that whole neighborhood was literally a war zone, at least what it sounded like. That was cool. So just literally just sitting in a house eating food, like just a whole smorgasbord of Filipino food and Hawaiian food, while you hear like essentially explosions around you, and it can be terrifying. Like I wasn't used to it, and I was like, just jumping every now and then. I was like, oh my gosh. Like it was pretty crazy. We played some games. That was a lot of fun. And we got to like reconnect with all the family members that we hadn't seen in years, and that was awesome. A lot of really good food spots we hit up. Foodland, Zippy's, Leonard's, Rainbow Drive-In, just to name a couple. And I got to share one of my dad's passions, which was fishing, which is awesome. He loves fishing. He's always loved fishing since my brother and I were kids, but we never really appreciated it because we were kids and we don't want to do something that's like really tedious and boring. But as an adult, I've come to learn that fishing is a very relaxing and enjoyable sport if you have the patience. And I feel like I have a lot more patience now that I'm an adult. So I got to bond over that with him, and I could tell he was really excited because he was introducing all these things to me and showing me how to do things. And I was like, oh, this is really nice. We got a bite, cute. But yeah, I was like, oh, this is really a really good bonding experience. And we wanted to go out again, but there was like a torrential rainstorm that happened, and that plan got scuffed, but it was fine. You could fish in a torrential rainstorm. They do say that when it's very stormy, a lot of different fish come out. That's very rare. Yeah, but but my dad was like, I don't want to get sick, and he doesn't have like anti-storm stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So overall it was a very relaxing experience. Oh, there was a station called 99.1 on Oahu that played K-pop 24/7, and I was like, yo, this station is lit. Wow. It was so cool. Everything from Twice to Blackpink to BTS to SNSD. They played G on the radio, and I was like, yo, this is a throwback. Let's go. Wow. If you play SNSD, then you know that you're a deep K-pop fan for sure. Yeah, seriously. That was a really cool thing to just listen to, because it was a part of my parents' saved radio stations in their car. They're like, oh yeah, like check this station out, and I was like, okay, well I know what you guys are bumping to. Like, it's like they love K-pop, and I was like, this is so cute. Cool. Yeah, they're like telling me the history behind like that Coldplay and BTS collab, and I was like, what the heck? I didn't even know about this. That's so cool. Wow. That was wild. Honestly, even I didn't know that BTS and Coldplay were doing a collab until it came out on the radio. Yeah, it was cool. It's cool to see that there's that whole connection, and Coldplay isn't afraid to like branch out and, do things that are different from what they typically do and what people typically think Coldplay does. Yes. So yeah, it was a lot of beach time, a lot of really good food, a lot of exploring new food restaurants, very nice, a lot of family time, a lot of catching up on Netflix series, watching movies, watching old movies, buying Steam games, unable to play them because I just didn't really have time. Yeah. And overall, I took a lot of time to just get away from Twitch, get away from Discord and YouTube and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just like time for myself to think and reflect on the past year and look forward to the new year. And, I felt rejuvenated. I felt like really recharged, but a part of me was like, I still want to be on vacation after that. Like, sometimes I feel like you need a vacation from your vacation.
You could just retire.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? But really quick, are there any New Year's goals or resolutions that you set for yourself, Alyssa?
I don't necessarily think I have New Year's goals this time around, though I have 30s goals.
Okay.
Which 30s goals, more or less are just about finding balance and making sure that I myself am okay, putting my physical and emotional needs first, and just making sure that, like, yeah, I have a late work day, or yeah, like, people want to hang out, but I just want to make sure that I reserve time for myself, and I intentionally do that to be by myself. More often in my 30s. And when I say, like, be by myself, I don't mean, like, because, I'm by myself right now in my room and we're talking, or I'm by myself, honestly, like, majority of the day when I'm working, but it's like, I'm not just, like, intentionally just being by myself, being disconnected from tech, just, like, not necessarily meditating, but just, like, embracing the moment and just relaxing. So I just want more moments like that, and just acknowledging that for all kinds of health, I need to space myself out from people from time to time, and technology and just material items. And also in my 30s, aside from just, like, maybe get a condo or a house, or, like, something like that, just, like, in general, be financially stable, whatever that means, of just, like, knowing that if I get screwed over in some way, I know that I'm going to be okay. Or if at any point, if I get laid off, if I decide to quit, if I just, like, whatever comes at me, like, some weird situation happens, is just knowing that I am financially stable and I feel okay. And that's pretty much all of my main goals of the 30s. Oh, and then just making sure that the current relationships that I do have, that with my family and friends that I care about, I'm continuing to keep at, because relationships are a two-way street, as well as if a relationship is not working, it's okay to accept that it's not working. Yeah. So I'm not going to force friendships, like, with people if I know for a fact that, like, it just on both sides it's not compatible. And but, like, not take it as a bad thing either. It's just, like, the way of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are, like, not really New Year's goals. They're, like, 30s goals. God help me. Anyways.
Okay, well, if you put it in that perspective, I can also apply the same logic to the stuff that I wrote down. And it's very similar to yours, which is take time aside and just, be by myself, to be in the moment, be present. I found that being away from the screen when I was in Hawaii definitely helped.
Totally.
And just, like, spending time and living in the moment with family really also helped a lot, because when I was there, I felt like I was only there for a month, but it felt like I was there for a year, because I would wake up early, go to sleep late, and I would always feel energized in the morning. I think that was maybe due to time difference, but also just being there and, like, not necessarily always being on the phone or on the computer, like, looking at things and browsing things. So being away from that, going outside more and experiencing nature and taking a walk and maybe, like, jogging around the park that I live near.
Totally.
Is nice. Which taps into exercising more, eating healthier. I've been since I've come back, I've been, like, looking up better recipes to take care of myself. I've been eating smaller meals and trying to incorporate portions of healthier foods into my daily meals, as opposed to more of the bad stuff. a personal goal is like I want to help my parents move. One of their goals is to move this year to a different island, and I want to help them accomplish that if at any way possible.
Yeah.
Whether it be physically or financially or both. Another goal of mine is to travel more this year. I'm actually planning to go back to Hawaii in April for a convention, so that's gonna be fun.
That's awesome.
I want to go to San Diego to visit one of my friends in March, and I'd really like to go to Japan this year if possible, maybe in the fall or winter. But
oh god,
who knows at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna invest in some really nice luggage too, because I've noticed that I'm gonna be traveling a lot more. For work as well. So I kind of want to get something that'll last like 10 to 15 years. And when I was coming home from Hawaii at the beginning of the month, I noticed that my luggage was like starting to rip. And I only got it a year ago. And I was like, 2 years ago. And I hardly used it last year. So I was like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? And it just turns out that, even though it's a Samsonite, it just is one of the cheaper ones. And
that sucks though. Cause Samsonite's a fairly like, it's a reliable brand.
Yeah, it's reputable. People love it. People swear by it, and I like it too. But this time, I'm actually going to go with Rimowa, which is one of the nicer brands.
You're going to get a Rimowa?
I'm going to get two. I'm going to get a carry-on and a check-in. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
I'm about to like dish out the cash too for it too.
Damn, that's how you know. That's how you know.
This is me being serious about travel. I'm getting the hard case. I'm going to put stickers on it because I don't typically put stickers on luggage. And one of the nice things about Rimowa is that you can get the luggage repaired at a Rimowa store. So it'll last even longer because you can get the wheels replaced. You can get like different parts of the luggage replaced. And yeah, like my aunt, when she was visiting Hawaii back in December for that one weekend before we went out to go get steaks, she went to the Rimowa store and bought one and came back. And she's like, if you ever want a luggage, get Rimowa because it's like one of the best brands out there for longevity when it comes to travel because it will literally just last like 15 years. She said the last one she had lasted 20 years. And I was like, okay. Because I don't want to keep buying luggage every 6 to 7 years just because it breaks. So I'm just going to invest in something that will be long term. And, if you think about it in the long run, that amount of money that you spend on the luggage will go back over time to you because that time equals the amount of time you spent like using the luggage. It's true. Money. So, yeah. So travel more.
I'm so excited for you.
Oh, thanks.
Rimowa is like the top of the top. Oh god,
it is.
Can't believe you're getting this. This is amazing. This is fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, and so I'm planning to buy it in April because when I go to Hawaii, there's a Rimowa store there. There's actually a couple. And the reason I'm going there not just to buy it, but also just for vacation, but I'm going to buy it there is because there's a lower sales tax in Hawaii.
Okay, that's fair.
So so pro tip: if anyone wants to buy anything luxury brand, or other, Hawaii has a lower sales tax.
By the way, Jeremy, remind me when you go to Hawaii that I want to order some Lupicia tea, and I'm just going to give you a list of what to get for me.
Okay.
So
sounds good. By the way, I still have your chocolate-covered Mac Nuts that I have to give you.
Yes, it'll happen.
Yeah. I'll give it to you someday. It's in the freezer, so it'll be frozen. It's cryogenically frozen, so by the time it comes to you,
great.
It'll be okay.
Fantastic. We're going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. To echo your point, like I would like to continue the relationships that I have, forge new ones, and see if those ones stick and stay, and eventually, buy a house in my 30s at some point and settle down and have kids, all that stuff. That's what I want to do. Part of it is because the way I'm thinking, and some people might be like, well, marriage isn't everything and having kids isn't everything. It's true, but like the part of me that thinks about that is also very traditional, and it comes instilled from my parents who they always talk about grandkids, and that's not to say it's pressure. It's more of a reminder because even since I was younger, I've always been like, oh, I want to get married and have kids. I don't know. It just seems like something that I personally want to do and a feeling that I have that I want to accomplish and a goal I set in my life that I want to complete. So, yeah.
Totally. I'm at this stage right now in my life where I'm kind of I'm not a nurturing type. And what I mean by that is I'm just not like in my 20s especially, just I haven't been, really close to like anyone who had kids or who anyone with toddlers and whatnot, who babies that were just born, and I just like never really had that sort of motherly skill as well as motherly feeling that eventually like hits you when you are ready to have a family. But I am in just like this past year, like I've known so many friends who have had kids, and I've met those kids, and it's just this weird feeling of like, wow, I'm not a nurturing type, but it's really nice like holding this baby. Not to say I'm gonna get pregnant anytime soon, but especially like especially like not in the next 5 years, unless it it is what it is. But
Sure.
but definitely like it's just as I get older, I am becoming more caring of little ones, and just kind of like the feeling of being not being a mother, but being motherly towards someone.
Yeah. I think everyone's ready at different times, and some people just aren't ready at all, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, that got real. That got
get real.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? If you guys want to hear more about our thoughts on life, we'll do a side quest. Just let us know.
Yes.
But to tie it back to the New Year's goals thing, and also going into stuff that I'm playing, there are a lot of games I want to complete this year. One which I completed on Monday, which was Dying Light. I didn't 100% it. There's a lot of DLC we have to play. My friends and I are playing through Dying Light, and we didn't complete all the DLC, but we did complete the main story. So that says a lot about like how much more we have left. So Dying Light is done-ish. And then Far Cry 6, I'm trying to get through. Lost Judgment, I'm trying to get through.
What chapter are you on in Lost Judgment now?
Great question. I'm on chapter 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm charging through. A lot of I get really distracted in that game, and that's okay because it's
Are you at the Hostess Bar Girls Bite yet?
Okay, I've been gutting through that. Not gonna lie, I've been having fun with that
game. Good times at Girls Bite.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I'm glad.
Yeah. So
it's funny when you're so wasted and like I can't read this fast and putting the sentences together.
Right? I was like literally like on stream. I was like, should I be actually drunk and play this game just to see if I could do it?
You should. I think I think you should drink whiskey one time with your special Yakuza glass and just do it.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Confirmation from Alyssa.
Confirmation. Yes.
Thank you for the encouragement.
Of course.
I'm planning to do it on stream. I'll just take a couple shots, sip on some whiskey, and then just be like, all right, let's see if I can actually play this minigame.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, doing Lost Judgment, and then I want to play through all the Halo games this year. I'm probably going to play co-op through all of them with my brother. And I'm looking forward to some games like Dying Light 2, which comes out next month on the 4th, February 4th, and Sons of the Forest, which is supposed to come out in May, which is a sequel to The Forest, which is an open-world survival horror game. But, I mean, probably in our next podcast, we can talk about stuff that we're hyped for. I just wanted to mention those two since they're coming up pretty soon. But, Alyssa, what about you? Is there anything now, besides what you mentioned earlier, that you're trying to get through, or did you kind of already mention that?
Yeah, so the most notable thing is that today I finished the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and wow, I enjoyed it a lot. I really had a lot of fun playing this game. I bought it on Black Friday at a discount. I think that the game is worth the price I bought it for on Black Friday, which was like $29. The reason I say that is because this is a very short game. I beat this, I think, in maybe 20 hours. And I beat it in 20 hours with me also being that type of person that walks through every single place to make sure that I pick up all the treasures. I think this is in general is a very short game. It's like 16 chapters, but each chapter is just like an hour if you're really like not wasting any time. But really liked it. It's kind of like a clunky Uncharted Mass Effect. And it's an adventure game, and obviously based off of the Marvel comics. Now, I'm not familiar if this was based off of a specific comic issue or whatnot, but I just know that it has one of the main characters it has is a character named Nikki, and I know that she's part of the comics, so that's just the type of story that's introduced in this specific Guardians of the Galaxy game. And it's just overall I liked it. I thought that the dialogue was well placed and the comedic timing was good. Honestly, like the storyline's kind of PG-13. It's a little bit racy. I was kind of shocked. Yeah, I was like, oh, we're implying some things, and this is interesting.
That's cool, actually. Wow.
Yeah, this is definitely they definitely spice it up with some of the things that happen in this game in a good way. I had a very fun time playing this. Also, like, similar to the Mass Effect style of, but not exactly the Mass Effect style, there's different variations and choices that you can make for your play through to be unique. And not to say that this is a multiple ending story. I'm pretty sure that the ending's the same no matter what. It's just that the path to get to that ending will have a minor detour or minor variation depending on what you choose. Like, for example, in my game, like one of the first examples, there's a choice. Are you going to hide your illegal weapons from the Nova Corps police, or are you going to hide a llama? Like this is a real choice in the game. So it's like really dumb, fun choices. Quill just has like these space guns and you just do upgrades. Very typical. There's fun guardian power combat. So like what's cool in this game is after you've powered up, you know how there's like a superpower that like in every game after you've leveled up a bar, once your bar's maxed, you can do a special thing. So in the Guardians, it's a huddle. So all the Guardians huddle, but the thing is like you have to Quill gives a pep talk to the Guardians, but you have to listen to the Guardians' dialogue and make the right choice. And by making the right choice, then everyone gets super OP for like a minute. If you don't make the right choice, then only you get super OP'd or no one gets super OP'd. But yeah, it's like, I think that adding the dialogue choices make this game fun. So It's a very interactive game, but it makes sense also because the Guardians, are a team. Now, the one thing I'll say about this game is just, it's very much just like a typical, Uncharted, adventure Mass Effect style game. There's nothing new about it, but it doesn't mean it's not fun either. So, it's not groundbreaking in terms of combat style, but it's totally fine. And another cool thing that I like about this game is, the developer, their names are Eidos Montreal. So they're and this game was published by Square Enix. Okay, so Quill's name is Star-Lord, and yes. Star-Lord in the lore is a band that Quill listened to when he was growing up. The developers legit in the soundtrack have a real Star-Lord band. It's a real rock band that they made for the game. They have a cover. They even have a music video. You can find the music video on YouTube. You can find Star-Lord on Spotify as well, or wherever there's music streaming. And it's really cool. So the audio director, Steve Shepkowski, reached out to his composer friend, Johan Budral, and then basically asked him, hey, so we have this Guardians game. Can you make a real Star-Lord band out of it? And I will say the Star-Lord band is a real rock metal band in the soundtrack. So I think that's really cool that they did that.
Now that is a nice touch.
Yes, super nice touch. I very much elevated a lot of the gameplay when that soundtrack's playing. And also, like, for anyone, you should just listen to it on Spotify. It's a good time. Okay. It feels like a lot of I want to say Iron Maiden, but I feel like that's a bad comparison. But I can't think of another band to compare this to. But yeah, I felt like even though this was a very simple I'm not going to say easy, but it was definitely a straightforward game to play. But I felt that in the dialogue and in the soundtrack and in the storyline, they really added some nice touches to make this not just straightforward combat, but make this a fun game.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, surprisingly had a good time.
I heard good things about it compared to the Avengers game, so I might have to pick it up on the next Steam sale.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I bought it for $29, and I think $29 is worth the price simply because you get a lot, but also the game's short. So it's like, I don't think anyone should be paying full price for like a 20-hour game. And like I said, it's 20 hours if you're doing a full playthrough also and trying to find all the collectibles. So,
okay.
Yeah, definitely wait for the Steam sale to buy it. But I think it's totally worth playing. Like, I think this is a good story.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm excited. I like the soundtrack from what the trailers are showing, so hopefully that is consistent throughout the game as well.
Yes, and you can also listen to the real Star-Lord as well as 80s hits. So,
yo, let's go.
Ayo.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's all I'm doing aside from Animal Crossing, which is my regular. Random fact. I changed just because I hosted it's like a shooting star party yesterday, but I changed my character's hair because I actually just dyed my hair brown blonde.
Ooh.
So that's a life update for me, but yeah, just random fact. But
hey, that's cool.
Yeah. I always change my Animal Crossing character and my Nintendo Amiibo avatar based off of the type of hair that I have. So.
Yo, me too, actually. Because I want to be immersed, all right?
Exactly.
That's not just my avatar. That is me living on that island, having a grand old time.
Exactly.
I even, like, there are clothing pieces in that game that I have in real life. And I'm like, I can dress him exactly like that. It's so funny.
A lot of the clothing that I choose for my Animal Crossing character are things that I would actually wear.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to go on to the news segment. There are 3 big pieces we want to talk about today. 2 of them are industry related. The other one is personal.
Yes.
But the first is about Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. Now, before we continue the conversation, I just want to say that Microsoft now owns these franchises: Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie, Call of Duty, Diablo, Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Fallout, Doom, Quake, Psychonauts, Prey, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, Minecraft, Candy Crush, amongst a smattering of other titles that I did not mention and that are also smaller, and some of them I picked basically some of the biggest names. You can already see that Microsoft is a juggernaut at the moment, owning so many crazy franchises, and wow. What are your initial thoughts on that, Alyssa?
So, it's definitely a good move by Microsoft. When I was looking at the press conference, I think by making this move, they said that gaming revenue-wise, they're now behind Tencent and Sony, so they're third place in gaming currently. And also, I think that overall, this is a good move for Microsoft because the thing with Microsoft is they're not just Xbox, they're PC. So you have to, so it's like they're appealing to all of these masses. The thing with Blizzard, like you can play a lot of those games on any console, but majority of their games, PC. So this is definitely I think this is the correct move for Microsoft. And I know that there's a lot of uncertainty, especially because they didn't necessarily say that Bobby Kotick was going to get fired, but I think that the writing is in the wall that I think that Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard to essentially phase out Bobby Kotick because this deal is going to actualize in 2023 if it goes through. And I think pretty much they're just saying Bobby Kotick's going to be here until 2023 when we officially acquire Activision Blizzard, and they're going to put their new CEO in. So for people who are worried about that aspect, I don't actually think that he is like going to stay. He's definitely going to leave once it's 2023. Now, now let's go to your opinion on what you think so far before I talk about Sony.
Okay, yeah. I agree with your point about Bobby Kotick leaving. I think that they're going to take him out of his position because they need to clean house, first of all. Like they're buying something that they know is hot, that there is a lot of commotion about, that there's a lot of talk about, and you know. Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I do want to add is a lot of people have been pissed off at Blizzard for a very long time. And
yes.
And there's no other publisher, developer, company that could help Blizzard except for another company that focuses on PC. So they understand the market for that. So, yeah.
Good points. I agree with all of them. And I also agree with the point that they did make a good move in the sense that they're buying a studio that is primarily PC related and PC based. Like, in my opinion, like echoing your words, Activision Blizzard has been all about PC for a long time. Like, everyone remembers the first Diablo and World of Warcraft games were always on PC. Like, you cannot find those on console, or you couldn't find those on console back in the day. And so their focus was always PC. So with Microsoft owning and making Windows, it just makes sense from a gamer tech perspective, obviously, right? But from an industry's perspective, it's pretty scary. Like, not gonna lie, you have this multi-billion-dollar company purchasing a company and several other companies over the years that have just generated so much revenue. It's insane. Like, it's kind of daunting when you think about it, because Jeff
100%.
Keighley, the wonderful Jeff Keighley, who runs the Video Game Awards, he tweeted out that there are other big game companies that could be acquired, and he listed EA, Take-Two, Nexon, Bandai Namco, Embracer, Netmarble, Ubisoft, Konami, Square Enix, Capcom, and Sega that are the ones who remain. And that's not a very long list. That is quite terrifying, because you have this, it's basically juggernaut companies out bidding each other for these like other big companies. It's insane. Like, this one shark is growing bigger than the other shark and eating that shark. It's like, what the hell is happening?
I know.
And I don't, the ones that I just mentioned that Jeff Keighley listed on Twitter, I don't want any of them to be bought out by like Sony or Microsoft or THQ Nordic, because I want them to all be independent. There needs to be more competition. And I don't think that this is good for competition. While this is nice that Microsoft is doing it. Like, when they bought Obsidian, when they bought Bethesda, they're like, we're going to leave you guys alone. You guys are going to do all your things on your own volition. But, we're going to be your parent, basically, and fund you or whatever, help you out when you need a bailout, what have you not. But make sure you just meet these quota numbers, et cetera, et cetera. And it's nice that Microsoft is changing Activision Blizzard. I don't think they're obviously not going to leave it alone. They better oust Bobby Kotick. Otherwise, why would they buy Activision Blizzard other than just to have more titles under their belt? I have no idea. In any case, I think that this is bad for competition, but I think it's a good move as far as libraries go and as far as the future of Activision Blizzard goes, because who knows? The Activision Blizzard could, if they weren't bought by Microsoft, they could have dissolved in the next 5 to 10 years because of poor management, poor leadership. And, the gaming industry is very cutthroat, very ruthless, as we've seen with like Telltale. And they went down because the leaders of that company had so much ambition, so much goal, but they didn't know how to meet that. And they worked with what little they had to produce even something that was less than what they were supposed to make, and made so little return that they eventually went under. But they had so many cool deals in place. Like, they were going to make a Stranger Things game. They were going to do all these cool licenses, and it sucks that company went under. But, who knows? Like, maybe Activision Blizzard could have followed suit, but we won't know. We won't know now because Microsoft bought them. And I'd like to hear what you have to say about Sony.
This is the part where, if you're trying to definitely make a statement, Sony probably needs to make a statement. But the problem, to your point, is I don't want Sony to acquire another company, but also same with Microsoft. I don't want Microsoft to continue acquiring other companies. I just think that I am anti-monopoly, Jeremy. I don't want this to happen. I don't want there to just be 3 gaming juggernauts that exist. We need the independent studios that are just there that source their games to every single port. We need those people like, this game's going to Xbox, PS4, 5, and Nintendo. Doesn't matter who you are, it's gonna go everywhere. We need those people, and that's why this Microsoft move is scary, because that now Sony's gonna be compelled to make a move. And I don't want that. You see, I feel like if Microsoft acquired maybe like a smaller studio, I'd be kind of like, oh, okay, this, like whatever. Or if it's more like they kept doing deals with studios, like it's gonna come out to Xbox first, and then eventually it'll come out everywhere else. I think I would be fine with that too. But just the idea of Activision Blizzard going under Microsoft, and all of these Activision games potentially being Xbox only after the contracts with Sony phase out for Call of Duty and whatever, is very frightening, and also frightening in a sense that Sony might make a move that will further down the line divide these two gaming conglomerates that we don't want, and it's just going to be a buy battle, and I don't want that. Like, can you imagine if Sony bought Ubisoft? So that's like Assassin's Creed or like Far Cry, for example. Or if Sony bought Take-Two, and that would be insane, because that's any 2K game, and that's Grand Theft Auto. Like, if you buy Grand Theft Auto, that's insane, and it's game over. But also, it's one of those things where I don't think Take-Two should accept any offer from Microsoft and Sony, because the whole appeal to Grand Theft Auto 5 is it goes on every single port, and it's never going to die. So it's against the principles of Grand Theft Auto 5 Online in itself if they're owned by a gaming conglomerate, because Grand Theft Auto 5 needs to live on whatever future iPhone there is in like 20 years. So like, I remember like last year we were talking about how there were rumors of Sony and Microsoft potentially making a play for Sega, and how it was this whole thing. And the thing is, at first I was like, oh, this is interesting. Sega is also a smaller company. But now with this Activision Blizzard move, I'm like, no one buy Sega. I don't want any of this. This all needs to stop. So this is the thing that I'm worried about, Jeremy. But this is a potential move I think Sony can make. I think that if Sony wants to really play the game, Sony needs to buy a company that is known for multiplayer gaming. For example, unfortunately, Take-Two or Ubisoft are good examples. But what they need to do is they need to buy it so that they stronghold Microsoft and say, oh, so you have this? Well, we have this. We need to make a deal now that the games are going to go for all consoles, or else Grand Theft Auto's not going to PC. So it's just like... So I think the potential move here is you either buy a company to stronghold Microsoft and make sure that it ports everywhere, or you can do what Sony does best. Sony just will continue making new franchises, and they'll just continue making new but like the thing is like, I think the big appeal to Microsoft majority of the time is like they're friendly for multiplayer. Sony necessarily is not friendly for multiplayer. So, also going into the fact that Sony historically has been a very single player company. So I don't know what the current values of the company are. I think there are ways that Sony can fight back Microsoft without having to do crazy shit and buy everything. But this is a very fearful move, to your point, that we don't want monopolies in the gaming industry, because it's going to suck. Like, it's going to be terrible. Honestly, Jeremy, Steam should buy everything. And then when Steam buys everything, we're going to be okay.
They won't touch it at all, because they don't even touch their own stuff.
Exactly.
I want to make a prediction, and I'm going to have a very strong opinion about one of the things I predict. So I predict Sony's going to buy a Japanese company in the next 5 to 10 years. And it's either going to be Bandai Namco, Konami, Square Enix, Capcom, or Sega. And the one that I'm strongly against is Sega. Now, when I grew up, when I was growing up, I was a very strong Sega supporter. I had the Genesis. We had the Dreamcast growing up, and I loved Sonic as a kid, and I loved all the games that came out on Sega Genesis and the Sega Dreamcast. And now, of course, we both love the Yakuza games that are produced and owned by Sega. I would not want anyone to buy Sega because I feel like Sega's strongest suit is being able to produce all of these games on every platform. Just echoing all the stuff you said earlier, it's just more beneficial for these companies to continue doing their own thing instead of being consumed by a larger company just to be like, yo, we want you because of market share, but also because of the titles that you have and the profit that you can bring. And it's like, what the no, like, come on now. Like, what about the fans? Like, what about the quality of the content? Is that going to remain the same? Like, yeah. But anyways, my only thing is that I just don't want Sega to be bought.
When I think about it, by principle, I don't think Sega should allow themselves to be bought. And
yes.
they were originally a console company too. And just to and they lost, we know that they lost that battle to PlayStation. But they do have games now that go everywhere. And I don't think that Sega should allow Microsoft or Sony to buy them.
Yeah, I agree.
Of the 4 that you listed, I think that if Sony were to buy a company, it's Square Enix.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think of the 4 you listed, that's the one they would most likely buy. There's a lot of profit, of course, in a lot of the Square Enix games that come out, such as Final Fantasy. But the thing is like Square Enix also has a lot of different publishing games that go out to all different ports. I think that like, for example, like Sony, there's a lot of Square Enix things that go to Nintendo. I don't think Sony's gonna mess around with that, or like the game will still come out to Nintendo is what I mean. But if we think about it, Square Enix, a lot of the games originally came out on PlayStation, such as Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and I just think if they were going to buy a Japanese company, this is the most likely company to do it. I think that Bandai Namco is also a good play. I think that Konami's Resident Evil, right? Yeah, that's Resident Evil.
Oh no,
it's
that's Silent Hill. Capcom is Resident Evil.
Oh, Capcom, you're right.
Yeah, I did list Capcom and Bandai Namco as well.
Yeah. There are good Japanese options. I do think that Square Enix would be their play if they were to do it. It makes the most sense. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool.
Yes.
We got to wrap up here soon, but I just want to mention one thing, or a couple things. Well, one is, did you get the Steam Deck? Did you pre-order it, or?
I thought I pre-ordered it, but I never got an email, but I did sign up for the wish list.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well,
yeah.
The Steam Deck launches on February 25th with emails going out to those that pre-ordered, and if you purchase it from the email, then it'll be shipped out to you by the 28th, and it'll be in customers' hands. So this I know you were, yeah.
This is the thing now, Jeremy. I would have gotten this if I didn't get a PS5 and I didn't just drop $500.
No, yeah,
this past month.
That's fair.
Yeah,
totally
so
fair.
I don't think I'm going to get a Steam Deck anymore on launch, but I'm very happy with my PS5 purchase. The PS5 was a very spur of the moment, spontaneous situation, and
yeah.
Eventually, maybe price drop, I'll get the Steam Deck, but not today or February 25th.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But you know what? Maybe it was a blessing in disguise because now you're just letting all the people that pre-ordered it test it. And if there's an issue, then good thing you didn't buy it. Or if they make a version 2 and it has a lot of better specs and bigger memory, then hell yeah, then you can just get that one.
Yep. Exactly. Did you pre-order it? You're not going to get it?
No, I'm not going to get it because I already have a PC and a laptop, so I think I'm pretty set.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. But I think it's cool. I can't wait to get it. One of my buddies that was on the podcast before, Ryan, I know he really wants it because there is like just the portable aspect of having a PC.
Absolutely. That's the reason I want it too.
Yeah. The portability is his whole thing since his job requires him to be on the road a lot. So he gets to, play some games while he's on the road.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And all right. The last thing I want to mention is we've talked about this before. And if you weren't here for the last podcast, well, Alyssa and I are rebranding the podcast. We are moving away from Downtime.Live, from Downtime Podcast. We had some issues in the beginning, not necessarily beef or anything, but just like with the name of it, because there was a mountain biking podcast who shared the same name as ours. So it's better if we continue doing something and changing, because I feel like, with any content creator, you want to change something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the format, but in our case, it's going to be a rehaul. So visually, there's going to be a lot of changes. We're working with a designer. We had a meeting with him earlier this week, and it was fantastic. Last week, sorry. We had a meeting with him last week, and he's really cool. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm really excited to see the branding when it comes out, and you guys will be notified once it happens. There's not going to be a set date because we don't have that yet. We can't really gauge that since we're still working on getting all the design assets in so that we can give you guys some really cool content.
Exactly. It's going to be a good time. And we're excited. And
yes.
We said this in the last episode as well before the new year. The content of this podcast is not going to change. It's going to be exactly the same, in the sense that Jeremy and I are still going to be hosting. Nothing is changing. We're seriously just changing the name and the branding to distance ourselves from the mountain bike podcast, and we're still going to talk about games and fun stuff.
Yep, the format will be the same, but the branding, the name itself will be different. You'll see a different logo, different artwork. It's going to look fun. It's going to look different. And, new year, new us. How about that?
Yes, exactly. New year, new us.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone that has come along for the ride so far. We started this in 2017. Very thankful for everyone who's stuck around, all the new people that have come by, all the guests that have been featured on the podcast. Here's to 2022, the whole rebranding and more. And to close out, we have one question from Dave97/Chariot Goblin. And Dave asks and says, Happy New Year. There was a poll done in Japan which users voted for the top 100 games of all time. What are your thoughts on the results? Here's the list. And he provided a link that showed a list of the previously mentioned top 100 games. This was done with 50,000 Japanese voters voting in for TV Asahi, which is one of the big TV channels in Tokyo, or in all of Japan, I should say. There's a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, finish your thought.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of different games listed here.
Yes.
Obviously, they're mostly Japanese, with the exception of a couple.
This is the top 10. Actually, let's do top 20, because this is actually kind of interesting. Okay. 20 is Minecraft. 9 is Suikoden 2. 18 is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. 17 is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. 16, Kingdom Hearts 2. I agree with that. Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best Kingdom Hearts. Number 15, Dragon Quest 4 Chapters of the Chosen. 14, Pokemon Sword and Shield. 13, Undertale. 12, Super Mario Kart. 11, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. This is the highest ranking Pokemon, and I'm surprised. But yes, that one shocked me. Number 10, Super Mario Bros. 3. Number 9, Final Fantasy X, as it should be. Number 8, Chrono Trigger. Makes sense. Number 7, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 6, Dragon Quest 3. Number 5, Splatoon 2. Number 4, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yes. Wow. Number 3.
So high up there.
So high up. It deserves it. Animal Crossing deserves it. Number 3, Final Fantasy VII, not surprising. Number 2, Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride. And number 1, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, being the highest ranked Legend of Zelda.
Okay. Initially, I'm very shocked by the top 20, even the top 10. The top 5 there's 3 that are Switch games, and 3 of those top 5 games came out not even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I am very surprised that the number 1 game is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm seriously so surprised by that, because I thought it would be Mother. I thought it would be I thought it would be Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or like any other Nintendo title, but no, it's Breath of the Wild. Like,
also,
that is crazy.
I know Breath of the Wild is super popular, but I thought that Ocarina of Time was the more popular Legend of Zelda game.
Same.
But maybe it's dated at this point. I have no idea.
Listen, I'm not sure either, but like Breath of the Wild is a fantastic title, and I'm so shocked that everyone voted that it would be number one. Like, given the amount of detail in that game and the love it has, yeah, it makes sense. But like, it's not an old game. Like, I was expecting an older title to be listed as number one, and number four, I was surprised that number 4 and 5 were Animal Crossing and Splatoon 2, like 2 Switch games that came out quite recently, and I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Like,
I know.
Competing against Final Fantasy VII, which came out in 1997, right?
And probably has a boost because of the remake that came out 2 years ago.
Right? So it's kind of interesting looking at the top 20 because how much of this is fueled by newer titles. Like Dragon Quest, there's always a new title coming out. So I can kind of see why some of the older ones are beloved because a new title comes out and everyone's like, I want to play the old one. But yeah, so what about you? What do you think?
So one of the most shocking things to me is that the highest Pokemon is Diamond and Pearl. Now, yes. I think this got the boost of Brilliant, Diamond, and Shining Pearl. I don't know. I'm just surprised that that this would be the highest ranking Pokemon game. But also, even Pokemon Sword and Shield is in the top 20.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that a Persona game is not within the top 30. So I'm just like, if you're looking at this list, we'll post it in the show notes for anyone who is curious. Persona doesn't appear until number... Oh god, where is the first Persona game? And I'm talking about Persona game like higher up. Persona 5 doesn't appear until 42. I feel like Persona is any Persona game is at least top 30. So I'm surprised that Persona 5 didn't crack the top 30. In 29, Okami, I agree with that. I think Okami should be higher, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, I think I agree that Animal Crossing probably did get a boost, but the thing with Animal Crossing is such a communal, peaceful game, and so many people in Japan played it, and so many like people around the world play it, and a lot of people played New Leaf, that this is also not surprising that it's in the top 10. I'm surprised it's in the top 5, but yeah.
Very pandemic driven.
Very pandemic driven. And Final Fantasy X and Chrono Trigger deserve to be in the top 10 because I said so. So
there you go.
There you have it. Also, I respect this list because Kingdom Hearts 2 is the highest rated Kingdom Hearts game. So
I respect this list because Ghost of Tsushima is listed on here.
Yes.
I love that game.
Yes. I will say, like, they even acknowledge Nier Automata, and I'm very happy that it got that boost. I am surprised there's no Tekken game in here, but do I see Tekken in here? No, I don't see Tekken in here. Actually, there's not that many fighting games in here. The only fighting game is Street Fighter 2, which is the most popular Street Fighter, and it's at 91. So I think that no one really ranked fighting games in this list. So,
and if you want to count one that's a party fighting game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is number 7.
Exactly.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it. I think that everyone's gonna fight, but I think that this list seems reasonable. So
yeah, I'm not
considering
surprised.
Considering the masses, this is a very, very reasonable list.
And considering the country that you're doing the poll in as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, Dave, thank you for your question and comment. I hope that answer satisfies you. If you'd like to send a question or comment yourself, please go to www.downtime.live. Send us a question or comment in the contact form. Fill it out. We'll read it on the podcast. Send us an email, contact@downtime.live. Again, that's contact@downtime.live, where you can send us an email the old-fashioned way, and we'll read it on the podcast. Please feel free to leave a comment or question wherever this podcast is hosted that allows for comments to be posted, so like Podbean or YouTube. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it on the podcast. We also have a Twitch. We have a Steam group. We have a Discord. If you want to join the Discord, go to wherever this podcast is hosted. Click on the link for joining the Discord. You should get an invite that will take you to our Discord server where we talk about everything from games and movies to TV shows to whatever we're feeling and thinking at the time. You can also find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And yeah, I think that's it. Alyssa, did I forget anything? I feel like I might have forgotten something, but
I don't think so. I think that's
maybe
it.
I didn't.
Yeah. Great podcast, Jeremy. Glad to be back.
Yes.
First
thank you so
podcast
much.
of 2022. Thank you, everyone, for always listening and tuning in and showing love for Jeremy and I. We really appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned for the new adventures and the new branding we're going to have with this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. All right, everyone. Take care. Be safe. Stay healthy. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.